All right, on this episode of Bare Knuckle Bowker, very excited to be talking to an individual who is going to be headlining BKB 52 No Turning Back, which transpires on March 28th, and will be vying for Cub Hawkins BKB Championship. Very excited to have Jesse Ronson back on Bare Knuckle Bowker ahead of a massive fight. How are you doing, man?
I'm good. Just again, like you said that W word in that little intro before, and now the dogs are going crazy. All right, guys, give me a minute. I'm good, man. Trading's going good. Very smooth. This is probably the sharpest I felt in a training camp probably ever. Like everything's just on. Speed is better than ever. Power is better than ever. Like, what's really my reactions, timing, and distance is it's ridiculous. Like everybody who's watching and who's training with me, they're like, holy, like it's ridiculous. It's like you turn 40 and you hit your prime all over again. And like I said, I've never been like this on, and I feel supremely confident. And I'm very measured and dialed in for this because everyone's like, what about the pressure? Of course, it's my first world title fight versus a legend like Cub Hawkins, who's like a 2 or 3 division world champion. He's like 9-1. Just beat a legend in Barry Jones, who I've wanted to fight. So it's a tall order, but again, to be the first Canadian ever to win a bare knuckle title, and that belt is fucking awesome. The Police Gazette belt, it'll sit right in front of me right here, and I just want it so bad, and it's just very motivating. So I'm doing everything right. I'm taking all the proper rest days that I need to take, and training smart, which I should have been doing my whole career. But yeah, no, it's better now than ever.
So, just all those factors considered, do you think that's why you're so dialed in? Like you talk about turning 40 and hitting your prime all over again. Is it, I guess, the amalgamation of, treating your body well and obviously the tremendous technique you've built up over time and the historical nature of what this fight represents? Like, are all these ingredients why you're feeling the way you do?
I think so. It's like everything's lining up. No injuries, knock on wood. I still get sore all the time. Things are still bugging me, but it's like it's nothing that you can't, get on a yoga ball, like a lacrosse ball, and roll out and feel good. Or, stretching. I'm like I said, I'm finally taking care of myself, and getting back to training the next day is good. I'm following a strict regimen diet. Like everything's just kind of falling into place. I was having a hard time dropping a little bit of weight a couple weeks ago, but now it's just steadily coming off. I think my body's like, all right, yeah, we're older now, so it's not going to be as easy as before, but we'll get there. Like we know what we're doing. Um, yeah, and again, it's just so incredibly motivating. And I asked people because they're like, "Oh, are you sure you're going to be the first bare knuckle boxing champion in history?" I'm like, if you can find another guy, I'd like to know because it's like I haven't. If there's been a Canadian champion, it hasn't been in my lifetime, and nobody knows who that is. And I've looked it up, and I can't find anything. So it's just it's one. It's. I can't even describe the feeling. I wish I could explain the outside. Like you're making history. Even like a lot of people don't think it's a big deal. Some people think it's a huge deal, but it's like there's never been a bare knuckle Canadian champion. Like, come on. Like that's huge, especially for me. Like everyone's like, "Oh, you started MMA. Don't you want to be an MMA world champion?" I'm like, being a world champion in itself is saying something because you're the best in the world at something. Not a lot of people can say that. Now, to be able to say that I am the best in the world at 175 pounds bare knuckle boxing, people will be, oh, what about Mike Perry? What about David Monday? Well, if they want it, they can come get it. Just show me the fucking money because I'm sure BKB would love to do a co-promotion to make some money. But to do that and then be able to say that I'm the first Canadian, millions of Canadians like to be, oh, it's such an incredible feeling. And it's just something that like there is no pressure. It's just going. I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna fucking win. And it feels so good. Like I can't. I feel like I can't lose because I'm the first guy. I know there's people that have had title shots, like Jade Masson Wong. She had a title shot in BKFC. I'm sure there's other Canadians that have had their opportunities, but it's like where they failed, I won't because I feel over 20 years of my career and all my experience versus a guy like Cub Hawkins. I just feel like I can't lose. The universe won't let me lose. It's our time. Go Canada.
It's just cool because like I felt like one of the standout quotes that I'd kind of made an article around from the last time we spoke was centric on the idea that you got more support in your bare knuckle boxing than you ever did for all of your UFC fights. So just really something about that. I think that tells a story in and of itself. And you're clearly, very emboldened by the moment and galvanized. So it just seems like a lot of cool things are coming together. And especially because, like, I think a lot of people that follow combat sports, when you were signed to BKB and understood what you brought to the table, they figured you would be like such a natural fit for it anyway. But I feel like the nature of how you finished someone like Ryan Jett, like a very tenured, established fighter on the circuit, it just emboldened it that much more, like almost exceeded those lofty expectations. And clearly the promotion sees that, and here you are.
Yeah, 100%. I knew they weren't going to do me any favors getting my, like, because I think Ryan Jett's like 10th fight, and he fought for the title once or twice before. He fought three champions. He gave everybody a hard time. He's a solid scrapper. And, blowing through that guy, they're like, ooh, we've never had a Canadian, do that, let alone look that good. And like everybody wanted to see it again. And it's funny because when we were in the casino afterwards, because Seneca, everyone's like, so when's Ronson getting his title shot? Like bugging Mel, the matchmaker. And he's like, whoa, 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 he's got to fight one or two more times. I'm like, are you serious? You see what this guy just did? Like, the streak that he's been on. He's a Canadian. Like, this could be a really big market, a really big turning point. He was adamant on being like, nah, we need to get him one or two more. And then it was funny how I didn't need one or two more. I think he was just, I don't know. I think he knew I was going to get the title shot because 175 is a pretty stacked division. And yeah, I'm just glad. I'm sure there's probably people pissed off that I'm skipping the line, but you'll get your turn. Don't worry. I'm going to take care of Cub Hawkins, and I'm going to go win the Gamebred Bare Knuckle MMA title and be the first ever bare knuckle welterweight MMA champion in the world, not let alone Canadian. Then I'll come back. I'd love to fight Barry Jones, and then we'll see what happens from there. But there's I'm not done yet, and like the goal is to win the world title, be the first ever. But then it's also the world title is one thing that gives legitimacy to my career, but now MMA and fighting has taken everything from me, so I need to take something back, and it's time to start making some cheese.
Yeah, and that's another interesting part of this that I kind of wanted to touch on because when we were speaking the last time, there was that broader uncertainty about what, game-bred bare knuckle MMA would look like going forward and how that would shake out. But since then, like unveiled that massive 500K heavyweight bare knuckle MMA tournament. So a very exciting piece of the puzzle, especially in your situation, because you were poised to get that welterweight title shot prior, as you had kind of mentioned.
Yeah, so he took a little bit of a time off. He had some internal. I'm not at liberty to discuss. I know
Sure.
exactly what went on, but he had some internal problems with staff, and yeah. So now he's back. He's got an entirely new team. He's got good investors, as you know, a $500,000 tournament, but with guys fighting twice in one night, that's amazing. I'm pretty sure that's how it's going down. So the thing is, if he can throw money like that at a heavyweight tournament, I don't know if he's gonna make me do a welterweight tournament. I mean, I would if there's 500K on the line, sure. I don't care about the title shot right away. I'll fight a guy and then fight another guy for the title if $500,000 for the winners on the fucking line. But if he's got that kind of money to put on there, I know the price. Like my purse is only going to go up, especially I win this BKB world title. I'm a world champion, and then I'm going to fight for this one. I'm excited to be a two sport champion and also the money that follows it. And it's like everything's just kind of falling together and it's about time. Sure, it's at the tail end of my career. I wish this happened, 10 years ago and I could exploit it, but I'll take whatever I can fucking get right now when it comes to, like I said, the pieces falling together. I know I've only got a few fights left in me and I got to make the most out of it. So I'm gonna, hold out as much as I can to get the most that I can.
And it seems like you're really grabbing the bull by the horns in that sense, in terms of like, and you've already kind of
That is
talked
a
about
that
it.
is a great way to put it. Grabbing the bull by the horns and fuck. That's a great way to put it. Yes. Go on. Sorry.
No, no, you're good, man. I was just saying you'd kind of already like alluded to it before, like your awareness of the pedigree of someone like Cub Hawkins. And this sounds like the kind of challenge that really fits within what you're talking about. Like in terms of if you get your ideal outcome here, that would be quite the resume bolsterer, and you already have a strong ledger for sure.
Yeah, being a guy like Cub, again, I'm glad he's the champion and the guy that I'm fighting because you can't say, oh, you got an easy win to the title and you got an easy title. No, Cub Hawkins is legit. The guy is 9-1. He's the champ of the division above me. He's the champ in my division. He won. I think the last show he missed weight. I'm not sure, but he was supposed to fight for the title below, right? So he would have been a three division champ, but I guess like they didn't make the 165. I don't know what happened there, and I'm pretty sure it was supposed to be for the title because he was the main event. But yeah, the guy's a legend. So beating a guy like that, just it's like okay, you beat the legitimate best guy in the league. So it just I'm so excited for the opportunity of that to fight a guy like Cub, right? If it wasn't Cub, I would have Barry Jones, again, another guy. He was like what 13-1 with 12 knockouts. Like those are legitimate people. You can't just like yeah, like there's some champions that don't deserve to be champions, but it's like the guys that they want to put me up against they are badass motherfuckers. So it's like I'm so glad I get to showcase my skills. And beating a guy like that, you can't discredit me in any way whatsoever. That's a legitimate win. That's historic. That's, another feather in the fucking cap that just makes my career all that much better.
Yeah, I mean, you don't really strike me as like a fighter that would want to even take on like I don't know. I guess the parlance would be like a tomato can or something of that persuasion. Like you don't seem like someone that would really like get up for it in that kind of regard. Like I think your ledger speaks to like wanting the stiffest possible tests. So yeah, no, fair play, man. And I think it's just a great thing to, see in this moment and stuff like that. And yeah, I mean, like I said, I think like the nature of how you performed against, Jett in your first fight, I think speaks volumes to securing that title shot. And just seems like there's so many cool potential opportunities for you here. Like, I mean, even like a guy like LT Nelson, I know he has a fight coming up in April, but who's to say things don't shake out a certain way where that could be a potential future fight in the Trigon?
So I mean no disrespect to LT Nelson. He's awesome. He's a beast. He knows what he's doing. He's on his own path. But I think he knows I'm fucking coming. And he said, he's like, I'll fight anybody at 154, 160, 165. Those are weight classes I can't. He did not want to touch 75. He can make it. I'm sure, Eddie, you could always move up. I'm not going down. So if there's an opportunity to fight LT Nelson, he's got to come up. But he's made it specifically very clear that he said 65, 60, and 55. So, maybe he knows I'm coming. Maybe he knows I'm going to be the next guy and he doesn't want any of it. But this is LT Nelson, he's Mr. Smash. He's probably not afraid of anybody. He just wants to do the best for himself and stick within his limits. But yeah, if that's the next one, that's the next one. Like I said, I would love to do Cub Hawkins, Barry Jones, who also fought LT Nelson twice. And then if, I got one fight left on my contract, and if they want LT, they want LT. But it's like, I win this world title, I want to renegotiate because I'm
Mm-hmm.
not a world champion fighting on this entry level contract. Like they gave me, it's not that they lowballed me, but they're like, you have no skin in the game. You have no bare knuckle boxing experience. You have no boxing experience other than your amateur career. So it's like we can't pay you the money that you're worth in the MMA world and the boxing world because we don't know if it's going to pan out. We don't want to lose money. So I win this world title. The first thing I'm going to say after I thank everybody, do my speech, cry a little bit, it'd be like, all right, now we got to talk money. Because no world champions fighting or defending his title for. I'm not allowed at liberty to say what I'm
Sure.
fighting for. No, but ain't nobody gonna fucking defend a title on that much. And if they make me fight the title on that much, because they won't renegotiate and pay me what I'm worth, then I'll just sit out my contract because it's up in February. And who does pay? BKFC. They'll fucking get off their wallet. And BKB, I love them. I love everybody I'm working with. They're all awesome. So I'll be loyal to them and I'll give them every opportunity. And I'll even lower my price tag because I want to stay with them. Um, but yeah, it's going to be that time where you're going to have to pay up when I become world champion. And yeah, we'll see how that goes.
It is a bit of an intriguing time for that though, because like we saw with Alberto Blas when he was the BKFC champion coming over to BKB, and then I guess the inverse of that switch with Harry Gigliotti being a BKB champion and going over to BKFC with his fight coming up in a few weeks there. So just very interesting times to your point, like what you were kind of saying there.
Yeah. So again, I think guys are going for the money value. I don't know how deep BKB's pockets are. I know how deep BKFC's pockets are. I know how rich Connor is, and I know David Feldman. They got a little bit more money publicly that they're able to throw around. But I know a couple of the investors and owners of BKB. They're high-end multimillionaires, and I'm not talking like $5, $10 million. I'm talking like in the 30 to 50 or more $1 million range. So it's like they can definitely afford to pay champions six figures. And if you're gonna tout the fighter first organization, you better pay your fighters. Now, I understand, like I said, I had no skin in the game because there's a lot of guys in BKFC or a lot of UFC guys that went over to BKFC asking for a high price tag that just didn't pan out. And it's like, yo, we just threw $500,000 at this guy that lasted fucking 45 seconds. Ouch. That hurt, right? And there's a ton of UFC guys like that. And it's like these guys that are established in the UFC world MMA game go over to BKFC or BKB and get fucking stomped to by guys that nobody knows. Like this this guy just lost this, top 10 UFC fighter just lost to this no-name BKFC guy and it doesn't look good. And so I think they're all catching wise to it now. So I understand what they did, but yeah, again, going back to that, I don't want to go to BKFC. I'd rather I'm a very loyal guy. So it's like I
Mhm.
tried BKFC, talked to Nate Shook because Cyrus Fees, their announcer, who's announced a couple of my fights, we go way back, like 12 years, good friends. He set me up with Nate Shook. So I messaged Nate Shook and actually Cyrus set it up on Facebook. It was he made a message between Nate, me, and him. He goes, "Hey, this is Jesse Ronson, big blah blah blah." Long story short, talk to him. He's interested in fighting bare knuckle, UFC vet, so and so. I've announced a couple of his fights. So I started talking to Nate Shook, and Nate Shook's like, "Absolutely. If Cyrus is going to step up for you, we want you. We want you on our next. Like, when can you fight?" I'm like, "When can you get me a fight? Like, let's talk. Like, let's go." And then it went silent. And then about a couple weeks later, I'm like, "Hey, what's going on? Like, you want me or not?" And he goes, "Yeah, yeah, sorry. Shit got busy. We're actually coming to Canada. We 100% want you on the next Canada card. It's going to be in Calgary or whatever it is." That was a couple years ago. And I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "We're going to get you on that one." Again, crickets. I message him like a month. I see the event gets announced. I'm like, "Hey, am I on this card?" He's like, "Ah, sorry, no. We have too many guys. We got to get fights for. We can't have you on that one." I tell you what, how about Chris Lytle is going to be in this place, and this place. Why don't you go there when he's there and do a tryout? And then we'll see how you do in the tryout, and then we'll talk about getting you a fight. I'm like, are you fucking serious? You went from we want you to we'll put you on the next Canada card because you're a star in Canada. It'll be better to why don't you go do a fucking tryout? I'm like, how about you suck my fucking dick, Nate Shook? You're the biggest fucking sorry, you're the biggest fucking idiot I've ever met. Like, what a squandered fucking opportunity right there. I then like my one of my coaches, Leo Laux, knows Joe Ertl, who's one of the owners of BKB. He was having lunch with him, brought my name up. Joe Ertl called me. I talked to him. He goes, "I'm not the guy to talk to. I just want to know that Leo told me all about you. Call this guy right now." Hung up the phone, called Mike, BKB president. Talked to Mike. Mike's like, "Yeah, I heard about you. I just read it in text. We want you. I love everything about you. I know who you are. Call this guy." Hung up the phone, called Mel, the matchmaker. 20 minutes later, contracts in my fucking email, signed. 28 days later, I had my fight and fit. That whole process took 45 fucking minutes. No chasing Nate Shook around, the fucking idiot. And I don't care if it bites me in the ass for talking shit about Nate Shook because that guy just fucking fumbled the bag. And now I'm going to be the first ever Canadian bare knuckle champion. I know it. I feel it deeply. And it's like, I'll do that. And I will be calling out for cross promotions because I want that $1 million Mike fucking Perry fight. Nobody's been able to stop him. And I think I'm the guy to do it. And that'd be great. BKB versus BKFC. We can have me versus him, our heavyweight versus their heavyweight, our bridgerweight versus somebody else. Like there's so many, the fights are just endless between us versus them. We can do it in the Trigon, and when it doesn't go their way, we can do a second show where we do it in the circle with their time because we do 5 3s, they do 3 2s, right? And our
Mhm.
ring is smaller. So it'd be interesting to see how they do when they come over to us and how we do when we go over there. There's a lot of possibilities and a lot of fucking money to be made as long as they don't like as long as they don't try to do the UFC thing where they're like, "Oh, we're the fucking UFC. We're not going to promote you to make you more popular." It's not about that. It's about just making fucking money. Like UFC wouldn't co-promote with ONE FC or anything else because they thought if they did that, it would make the other organization look better or whatever it is. Or if their guys beat the UFC guys, they think, "Oh, now we don't have the best talent." It's like that's not how it fucking works. But
Mhm.
yeah. So hopefully they're open-minded about that because there's a lot of money to be made. Boxing does it all the time. WBO champ versus IBF champ. They're always correlating, they're just looking for the biggest fights. It's not hurting any other. organization like WBO fighting WBA. It's not hurting it and saying, oh, yeah, now the WBA is better than the W. No, it's just it's the sanctioning body that's sending that title. I just hate that UFC wouldn't co-promote because they think they're the monopoly. That's why they're getting sued left, right, and center.
Mhm.
But I hope BKB and BKFC are open, and it would be great because there's a lot of money to be made for not only the fighters but also both organizations, and it's like it'll just boost everything up. It'd be fucking insane.
It's interesting because I see exactly what you're talking about. And I think anyone that follows the broader bare knuckle circuit would also really enjoy saying that. Like, I don't know. I've seen a few instances of like some of the BKFC higher ups, like they won't even mention BKB by name. They'll say things like, oh, that other show or derivatives of that. So, yeah, I don't know. There might be that similar kind of thing where it's like they're too fixated on the optics pieces and wouldn't do a cross promotional effort so as to, I guess, seem like the industry leader a la UFC. Hopefully, I'm incorrect, but I feel like I've heard a couple
Yeah,
things where it's in that kind of lane, I guess.
but it's like, what are you afraid to make money? Like what's the worst outcome? We make fucking money. Some of your
Mm-hmm.
guys win, some of your guys lose. Like you don't just put me versus Mike Perry. Again, we're speaking in the future. I got to win the title first. I got to do all this stuff. But if it happens, you don't just put me versus Mike Perry. So like I win, yeah, it doesn't look good. You half and half, 50-50. It's like if we sweep, I'm sure that's what I said. You switch the it's all it can do is make money. The thing is, it's like the UFC is number one because they just pay the most. Nobody else pays what the UFC pays. That's why they're number one. Are there better MMA fighters out there in the world than other organizations? 1 million fucking percent. It's just that UFC is number one because they say they're number one. And fighters say it too because it's like, well, I get paid the most over here. I can't make this money anywhere else. Right? Just like with Zuffa boxing, they're like, oh, we're going to be number one because we say we're number one. And that's the way we're going to promote it. That's not how it fucking works. But I mean, if idiots are willing to believe you, sure, go for it. They made their own belt. They're getting shit on by everybody. So you can't just because you say you're the best doesn't mean you're actually the best. But if fighters will gravitate to where the money is, right? Sure, the UFC, I say right now, BKFC has better multimedia. They're seen more on social media and on TV, right? Because they got Connor, they got a lot of bigger names, bigger stars up there. So it would seem like they're ahead in the race. But it's like, do they have the better fighters? I don't know, but they do definitely. I don't know anyone in BKB who's fought for over $1 million, like Mike Perry or Luke Rockholder. Nobody's made the high six. I'm talking above 500,000 or in the couple millions, right? So it's like, where would you rather go? Would you rather go to BKB and make what BKB pays you, or would you rather go to BKFC and make high six figures, seven figures? It's a no-brainer fucking question.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, that doesn't make you the better organization, or it doesn't mean that you have the better fighters. Sure, you just pay better. But yeah, hopefully these guys, like you said, they're not fully with their heads up their asses, and they're willing to do like a co-promote and something like that. Because like realistically, it doesn't mean just because our guys beat you on this night doesn't mean it'll happen again. Doesn't mean that our organization is better, right? So it just you just got to get out of your own way in situations like that. Because if it's really about the fighter, then you'll do it. Not about your I don't know. I'm just a fighter. I'm not a brand owner or a promoter or anything like that. So what do I know? I'm just saying it how I see it.
No, I hear you. And it's just an interesting landscape for a lot of these components, like just to the point of fighters pursuing ultimately the biggest prize they can by being, prize fighters. Like that whole Rico Verhoeven situation where he was said to have been offered a Derek Lewis fight, which presumably that would have been on a starter kind of contract, but now he's fighting Alexander Usyk for the WBC heavyweight title in the boxing world. So yeah, I mean, it's kind of interesting times for sure. Like almost people like kind of knowing their worth and maybe just that imaging of like, oh, well, come to us because we're the industry leader. Like maybe that's kind of, I don't know, fading a little bit where it's like, no, I have other more fruitful options over here. So I'll pursue that.
100%. Rico Verhoeven's a dude he's worth every fucking penny. He's the greatest glory kickboxer ever. And I guarantee you, Zuffa or Dana White, whatever the fucking TKO, we're like, yeah, we'll give you $500,000. That's it. There's no more pay-per-view or whatever. 500 grand. That's. Or how about I just, fuck you and I fight Usyk for 50 million? Because Usyk, what did he make? $180 million his last fight.
Something like
So
that.
it's
Yeah,
like,
crazy amount.
there's no reason why Verhoeven, when they're doing that cry, like there's no reason why you can't make 50 million. It's like, yeah, no, go suck a dick. I will make 100 times more money doing this. Like, why not? Like when Dana came out and said, "Oh, our defending champions will make $750,000," and then all of the pro boxers were like, "What? I make $100 million. Why would I go sign for Zuffa Boxing to make $750,000 on a title defense when I make $100 million doing what I'm doing? Like nobody's going to do that." And of course, the first big name they signed was it Connor Ben?
Yeah, yeah.
$15 million. It's like, what? Who is this guy that you're paying 15 million? Has John Jones ever made 15 million? Khabib, have you ever paid him a flat 15 million? No. So out of eat right then and there, spit in every UFC fucking fighter in history's face by offering this guy $15 million. And then obviously he's got to come out of his hole and go, no, 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 no. Turkey's paying that out of his pocket. Oh, okay, cool. If he's paying it out of pocket, then maybe you, Mr. $800 million of money, Dana White, why don't you pay me out of pocket? Give me $50 million to fight. Like, if I was the UFC fighters right now, I'd be like, nah, dude, if you're signing this guy for $15 million, like, I want more. I want more. And so I do not blame Rico Verhoeven for standing his ground and going, no, I know I'm worth more. And I'm not signing because you sign a UFC contract, you're signing your life away. Your likeness, your name, everything else, they own you for the like forever, for everything. And that's the end of it. So I'm glad he stood his ground and realized that he's worth more.
Mhm.
And I hope a lot more fighters do, like Francis Ngannou got the hell out of there and he's just holding firm. He doesn't need to fight ever again if he doesn't want to. He's got enough money. But yeah, I wish a lot more guys were like that because you can't monopolize a market and then turn everybody into slaves. It's like we're the entertainment. We're what people are coming to see. So it's like fucking pay us, man. Like it's just brutal how fighters are so underpaid. It's like one of the most exciting sports in history, and yet we're so very underpaid compared to everybody else. So yeah, I hope, like I said, I hope BKB and BKFC just get out of their own way, and maybe they do a co-promotion. Even if I'm not involved, I would still love to see it. Just like I would love to see a UFC versus PFL. Everybody would love that, or a ONE FC versus Risen. I think they've done it. Like I would just love to see that that crossover stuff. Like it's not about being number one. It's just about showcasing the world. Like just give them great fucking fights, man. Boxing does it. There is no like us versus them. It's just everybody in boxing together. So it's like maybe that's why everybody loves boxing is because they treat people right and they do it right.
Yeah, it just seems like more of the bigger fights are getting made in boxing nowadays, which is interesting because I felt like the narrative used to be in the inverse, but I guess it's just interesting times and just combat sports is such a curious industry to say the very least. But yeah, you've got such a massive fight coming up, man. And it was funny the last time we were talking, you were talking about how you didn't have any room kind of in the mantle place for it. You'd have to kind of carve out some place for the belt and stuff like that. Maybe you might have to buy that new mantle that we were talking about. You said you weren't going to, but if you want the BKB belt and this Gamebred belt, maybe you need a new setup here. Is that kind of part of the
Absolutely
process?
not. So I've moved to a much larger house, and so I'm not stuck in that small little basement. But I have a whole new shelf for all my titles here,
Oh, there we
and
go.
yeah, so I have my jiu-jitsu black belt up here, my first degree, but I
Mm-hmm.
can put a belt right up top here, and then there's going to be one that's going to go in. So the first one that I win, so obviously the Police Gazette belt's going to go right here, and then the Gamebred World Title when I win, it's going to go right here, and then obviously I can hang up this black belt anywhere I want. But yeah, I have a little shelving unit that I have made up here for all my belts. Now
I,
I have the space for it. Build it, and they will come. And by they, I mean more belts, more
yeah.
titles.
No, I love that you're manifesting. And within there, I saw the TKO belt, and you obviously have the
Mhm.
history holding Samurai gold. I'd be curious to get your thoughts on this because I was noticing that there were certain plans that Samurai MMA has to come into Toronto this year, and Unified has kind of been doing a few shows there in recent
Mhm.
times. So I was kind of talking to Sonny, and I'm like, we're gonna get a little bit of like a turf war kind of vibe, like MFC versus TKO days, kind of vying for dominance. Like, do you have any particular thoughts on like the Canadian MMA scene, like in terms of I guess that specific sort of piece of it?
So I don't think it would be a turf war because Unified has definitely solidified their ground in Alberta, and Samurai is definitely solidified in Quebec. So Toronto is neither of their territories. I don't care if Samurai's never done a show and Unified's done a couple. Toronto is not unified territory. If anything, it would be more BTC because that's where BTC is located, but they've kind of taken a bit of a back seat when it comes to pro. But yeah, I would love Samurai to come to. I would love everybody to come to Ontario, um, but uh, we'll see. I love how Samurai, like Daniel Lafon's a great dude. He's one of those guys that, again, he pulls his head out of his own fucking ass. He pays the most out of any MMA promotion that I've ever fought for in Canada. Has absolutely no problem. He's like, I'll fucking pay you because I know this is what you guys. He's like, it hurts and I lose money, but this is what I feel you guys deserve. Um, and he's a great guy. I love working for him. He owes me another belt. So that's the one. This one is the one that I won versus Ceres. When
Mm-hmm.
I beat Vargas, I was supposed to get another belt, but he didn't order. It didn't come in.
Oh,
So the belt that gave me that, the belt they gave me that night was actually Alex Morgan's featherweight belt, and he said he was
uh-huh.
going to give me another one, but he still hasn't given me a belt. So Daniel Lafont, you owe me a samurai belt. I don't know where I'd put it. Maybe I would put it on the floor over here or something like that. Like I don't
Mhm.
need another samurai belt, but belts are belts. What I was getting to is I love that he's doing co-promotion with BFL. So the guy that owns BFL in British Columbia or wherever, I love that he sends guys to Samurai and Samurai sends guys to them. BTC Sherry, she did it too. She's got a good relationship with the guy from BFL where they send BTC guys to BFL and back. I love that fucking shit. And like I wish more promotions would do that. Like Unified just does unified stuff. Like, why don't you do unified versus samurai in Toronto? So it's
Mhm.
neutral ground. It's you send your best Alberta guys, they send their best Quebec guys into Toronto, and you fucking have a fight. Of course, you have a couple Ontario guys to sell some local tickets, but like that's how MMA should be, especially at the local level. There shouldn't be like, oh, we're vying for the number one promotion in Canada. Like, who gives a fucking shit? Like, I don't give a fucking shit if I'm fighting for the number one or number four local MMA promotion because it's like, it's not going to do anything for me. It won't advance my career. UFC is not going to be like, ah, sorry, we don't want you because you fought for, BTC, the number three promotion. We only take guys from the number one promotion. No, you
Mhm.
don't. Like, get the fuck out of here. You want guys that are finishing people excitingly and taking dangerous fights, like not fighting cans, not fighting bums, and padding your record because you pad your record, great. You get a contender series shot, you get fucking stomped. Or if you don't get stomped, you get signed. Maybe like they've signed, they haven't like just because you win on the contenders doesn't mean you get a contract. And they've not signed guys that have won because they look, oh yeah, he's fought a couple of bums and then he comes on the contender series and has his first real test. And sure, he won, but it's not that exciting. He wouldn't last. So it's like take your hard fights and like I said, promotion versus promotion. Your best guys versus our best guys. Those are the tough fights. Don't fucking handpick. No offense. There's a lot of guys out in BFL right now that are good records who think they're going to the UFC and they're handpicking their opponents. You can just see it by the records of the guy. Like this guy's 11-3 fighting a fucking shit can. And I hate that fucking stuff
Mhm.
because they're just looking for W's so they can get a shot. And it's like, nah, dude, don't squander your opportunities. Like fight the tough fights because it's a whole different beast. It's a whole nother level when you get there. Trust me, I know. I've done it twice. It's just a different beast. Now, do I feel like the guys that beat me in the UFC should have beaten me? No, but it's the pressure. It's a compounding. There's a lot more factors going on that I couldn't get. I couldn't get out of my own way to beat the guys. Do I feel like I should have beat those guys? Absolutely. Everybody I trained with said, Jesse, you should have beat that guy. 10 out of 10 times you should have beat that guy. Why didn't you beat that guy? I fucking shit the bed. I couldn't get out of my own way. And I thought I took tough fights to get there. And it's like, maybe I should have taken tougher fights. So now, like you said before, I'm not looking for easy fights, especially near the tail end of my career. So we're getting a lot way off topic with local MMA and everything else, but I love talking about it because people need to fucking hear it.
Well, yeah, you know what it is? You've done so many things in your career, man, and you continue to do so many things. I just feel like there's so many subjects I can talk about with you. So that's why I always find these chats exciting. It's like a
Mhm.
little bit of bare knuckle, Gamebred MMA, your UFC experience, a lot of subjects to cover. But yeah, to your point, this BKB 52 fight is, that big next one and, representative of them getting into a newer market here and you're headlining. So some cool components for sure. Just this Connecticut debut and all.
I'm hoping winning this title, we can bring them to Canada. You know what I mean? Because BKFC has come to Edmonton. There's no reason why they can't come to Ontario. We have reserves here. I know the Ontario Commission doesn't like it, but
Mm-hmm.
it's like, well, then fucking sanction bare knuckle boxing, all right? Like, what's the fucking problem? It's boxing. Like, who cares how violent it is? Violent, but it's like if you can sanction MMA, you can sanction bare knuckle boxing. And it's like, then let us do it. It's something that I can definitely have a conversation with Luke Kotlik with after I win it. But I would love it. I would love for them to come here. And you know how, like I said, the support system that I got doing big gigs, like now you're doing the man stuff. Like, yeah, UFC's cool. It's mainstream. Everybody follows it, whatever else. But it's like the amount of respect that I'm getting from people just for doing bare knuckle. Like they're like, oh, I'm getting introduced. Hey, this is Jesse Ronson. He's, fighting for the BKB, world title next month. Like, oh, world title. Cool. What's BKB? Oh, bare knuckle boxing. Bare knuckle. Holy shit. Like, holy fuck. You're one of those guys. Wow.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
my God. Like they lose their shit. Like, how can I watch that? That's fucking crazy. And that's the stuff that really gets me hard is when people are like, holy fuck, you're out of your mind doing bare knuckle fighting. And yeah, it's so exciting. So I want to bring it here. So be the first Canadian champion and then bring it over here. We'll see what they have to say about that.
No, I would love that, man. It seems, possible for sure. I mean, I feel
Mhm.
like the catalyst points of like a champion from an area can really drive that forward that much more. So, yeah, just so many cool things in your career going on right now and everything, as I've kind of said. But I also do want to give you the floor in case you maybe had a final parting thought. I want to let you take the dogs out. I feel like I've been kind of keeping them waiting for a little bit with the Sunday walk plans. So if you have any
Ah,
final thought,
they
yeah.
they can wait. They're not spoiled brats. They can wait. I enjoy talking to you, and I love how we hit all these different areas. And it's funny because you'd be surprised the people that actually watch this. Like yesterday, we had an MMA show, Prospect MMA amateur show in London, and people that I don't even know were coming up to me saying, "I watched your last interview with Dylan Boker about how you said." I was like, "You watched that?" They're like, "Oh yeah, man! Like you don't fucking hold back." And they're like, "I can't fucking believe it." So it's like, oh shit! Like twice last night, just to be specific, twice.
Mhm.
People I didn't even know referenced the last interview you and I did. So I was like, "That's cool. That is cool as shit."
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I love you always from the very first interview how you researched my career and you researched my opponents and like all the little things in between, like your stuff, and that's very hard to come by. Most interviewers are just doing it for likes and clicks and they don't know anything from a hole in the ground. Like, oh yeah, I'm doing an MMA interview with an MMA fighter, but they don't really know MMA. They don't really know the fighter that they're interviewing or their opponent or whatever. So it's like I know every time I talk to you, I'm pretty sure we could talk about Cub Hawkins for the last 30 minutes. Just
Sure.
even though he's only 2-3 or 3-2 in pro MMA and he's 9-1 in boxing, there's probably a lot that you know about him. We probably know more about him than I do. I should probably get my coaches to talk to you so you could give them a breakdown of what you know about Cub Hawkins so we can spend the next 3-4 weeks dialing it in. Right. So it's always good talking to you because you're eclectic knowledge about everything. So
I
yeah,
appreciate that, man.
the dogs can wait another 20 minutes if they needed to wait. They're not walking around cross-legged pissing on the floor. So
No, it's great stuff, man. I'm super
yeah.
stoked for March 28th. BKB 52 is going to be an incredible fight. This Cub Hawkins bout. I mean, these are the
Mhm.
kind of things that I, do these bare knuckle Bowker interviews for. A massive matchup. And again, thanks so much for
Mhm.
the time. As always, Jesse, you have a good rest of your day.
Yeah, you too, man. Yeah, I don't even